And I said, well, I was reading the doctor's opinion. And he said, well, what book did you get it out of? And I said, well, out of this big book. I had one of the little softback versions of the big book that had just come out. He said, show that to me, and I did. And he left. The next day he walked up to me, and before he got to me, he started crying. I mean, real big tears. He said, Joe, I've been a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, sober member, for 39 years, and I didn't know that chapter was in the book. Had never read it, didn't know. But he did say, I'm going to go back home and start me a big book study, and we're going to learn about the doctor's opinion. Most important, that we understand what our problem is. Can't solve any problem until we understand what it is. The doctor's opinion explains that.
You know, AA's been around long enough now, since 1935, that today we kind of take a lot of this stuff for granted. Mm-hmm. I don't think we really realize how fortunate we are to have lived in the century when they determined what alcoholism really is. Because based on what it really is, we were able to find a solution. I don't think we really realize the great debt of gratitude that we owe to this little doctor called Dr. Silkwork. You know, prior to 1930, nobody understood alcoholism. Alcoholism is not anything new. We can go back in the oldest recorded history of humankind, and we can always find references to the alcoholic, to the drunkard, to the dipsomaniac, to those who drank too much. One of the oldest sources of information we have happens to be the Bible. And you find several references in the Bible to alcoholism. And one that I always kind of enjoy talking about is a book in the Bible that was written by a fellow named Solomon. And you know, Solomon was a learned individual of his time, great wisdom.
First social worker the world's ever known.
People had problems, they came to Solomon and they would ask him and he would give them an answer. And apparently one time somebody asked him about the alcoholic. And Solomon said, who has woe, who has sorrow, who has redness of eyes, those that tarry long at the wine. Everybody was a wino in those days. They didn't have the hard stuff. And he went ahead to describe the alcoholic. He said, you will be as one who lieth down in the midst of a sea. Remember how you used to go to bed at night and that old bed start moving around on you? Or sleepeth at the top of a tall mast, swaying back and forth. He said, you will say they have beaten me, and I felt it not. Remember how you used to get up in the morning, you got bruises all over you, and you don't remember how in the hell you got them? And he surely knew some of us men, and he said, and thine eyes shall behold strange women. And their heart shall utter perverse things.
You're like, trust me, honey, please trust me.
But then he said the most telling statement of all. He said, they will arise in the morning and seek it yet again. Almost a perfect description of alcoholism as we know it today. But he had no solution for it. Well over 500 years ago, there was a doctor in England named Trotter. And Dr. Trotter said alcoholism is a disease. But he had no solution for it, other than just complete abstinence, no drinking whatsoever. He couldn't explain it, he didn't understand it. Here in our country, over 200 years ago, there was a doctor named Benjamin Rush, and he was one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence. And he wrote a paper on alcoholism. And he said that it was a disease also. But he didn't understand it. And he didn't have any solution for it other than just don't drink, period. So alcoholism has been with us forever. And people have always tried to figure out the alcoholic. And all the opinions about